Hello, welcome to Nostalgic Ape. Today we're going to talk about my thoughts on Jak II. Now, this isn't the video I wanted for the last Jak II 20th anniversary video series we've done on the channel. I wanted to actually showcase a prototype, or a couple of prototypes, for Jak II Lost Levels RPG sort of thing. So basically it's a Jak II remake into an RPG, right? Based on the original game's promotional material, Jak and Daxter The Lost Levels. However, I do I do game dev tutoring as a job. More important, game dev stuff came up, and I just don't have anything substantial enough that to the point of customer facing, like to the level I want to show you guys anyway. So today we're just doing my thoughts on Jak II. Now, the My Thoughts series is not reviews, it's literally just my plain thoughts, stream, me talking to a video voice recorder, me literally just spouting out my ideas. It's not like I'm not going to rate anything, I'm not going to dismiss stuff. I'm not a reviewer of any kind. I don't have any sort of experience in that sort of thing of being critical, and I'm a bit more on the optimistic side. So things that are objectively bad in games and stuff, they don't bother me as much. Even though I understand the criticisms, I can still have a good time usually. So I don't know, I just sort of don't feel like I'm at that level, and I don't really want to be anyway. So I just, these are my thoughts. And this is not the first My Thoughts video I wanted to actually put out. I have a Tales of Arise one that's kind of in development hell. It's been in there for a while. And yeah, so this is what it is, I guess.
When I talk about gameplay here, I'm honestly not too familiar with tropes or things that should or shouldn't be in a JRPG today, things that are hot takes, things that aren't so hot takes, things that are like contemporary and old-fashioned, that sort of stuff. I hear these things all the time, but I really don't know one way or the other what has and hasn't been done before, essentially, which is bad because I'm trying to make one. But we're not. That's also a tangent. So let's get on to the battle system.
Yeah, anyway, so for this video, I want to kind of put myself back into the mind frame of me picking up the game for the first time. Now, if you've seen my documentary on the game, you've already heard the story a little bit, but basically, I picked it up when I was about 6 or 5, somewhere on there, and I'd already played the first game on my cousin's PlayStation 2. But yeah, I was blown away by how different this game was, right? Even from the introductionary scene where you kind of like a fly through of the city. It was good. It was a grey dystopian area. It was more lively. It blew me away though. What really blew me away was the assets on screen at the time. All the vehicles, all the people walking around. And what I mean by that is, like, to today's standards, I'm playing Spider-Man 2 right now. This is nothing, right? But comparing to even Spider-Man 2 from PS2, like, the amount of things on screen, it was actually quite impressive. The story was engaging from the get-go. I loved the idea of, like, context for why I was in a different place. The fact everything just sort of picks up from the first game's ending, it's really cool. I like that. I love the mystique of what is going on. Like, by the time you've got control of Jak for the first time in the game, you're already sort of like asking yourself, like, who are these people that are, what's going on? Yeah, it gives you motivation to get to the next thing, right? Whereas the first game, the motivation to not stop playing was just how fun each different task was. And if something really got to me in the first game when I was a kid, there were some, like, pseudo difficulty spikes in the first game. Nothing was that difficult really, but like there are things that are a bit more challenging, and if something got to me, I put the game down. But in Jak II, my motivation to keep playing was the next scene, and that sounds like a lot of bullshit, right? But it isn't. Like, it's not like to the point where like if I didn't enjoy the next scene, I was disappointed, right? Because that was my reward for like getting through some of the difficulty. And Jak II is a hard game, no doubt. It's designed like that. But, like, once you master the mechanics, it's no longer hard. Like, I breeze through it ridiculously fast nowadays, within 6-7 hours or some crap like that. And it's, like... And most of that playtime is just driving around. I don't enjoy that as much as I used to, you know what I mean? Like there's a weird fallacy with this kind of stuff. When you play something too much, and objectively, I've played this game too much, right? And I'm looking forward to mods that change this game with Open Go. But yeah, like, I don't enjoy it as much as I used to, because the motivation back in the day was to literally see the next scene. Like, I know that sounds like a dumb piece of motivation, but I think it's the same thing that's, like, that has me playing Spider-Man 2. Now, Spider-Man 2, No, I want to compare it because I'm currently playing it, right? And this is why this isn't review worthy content, because it's going to be like flip floppity jumping all over the place, comparing shit to games that shouldn't be compared. Like Spider-Man 2 should not be compared to Jak 2, right? Like these are like the PS5 Spider-Man 2 should not be compared to Jak 2. These are two different games from 20 years apart. You know what I mean? Similar-ish designs, but they're way different, you know, in scope and mechanics and what you do. Like one has you driving cars, and one has you like a superhero flying around, and like everything is different, right? But what I mean is like the next scene is what keeps me playing Spider-Man 2. But Spider-Man 2 is intrinsically fun, right? Flying around the city and stuff. What really has me not putting the controller down and getting addicted and hooked is flying around the city, swinging around the city, doing all these like engaging little side pieces. Jak 2 didn't have that. Like Jak 2 doesn't have engaging little side content things in the city, and that's the thing, right? Like what really kept me playing was the next cutscene. And I'm trying to emphasize this is because I feel like a lot of people today would be like, "What do you mean by that?" You know, if like that's such a dumb reason to keep playing games, right? And yeah, that's valid. I do think it is true. It is weird, but it's the way it was designed. It was a high action-packed, explosive sort of story, right? Like, and you know this. Like, if you compare the cutscenes of Jak 2 to something like I don't know, Ratchet and Clank or something, like Jak 2 is like current, like it's going 100 miles per hour. Like it compensates like character growth for, you know, for high action packed scenes. I used to think, like, even this year I used to think it was just a PS2 limitation, but like the more I sit down and actually like put some like a little bit of thought into it, like you compare it to like Sly Cooper, who has insane character growth, right, and lots of screen time for character development. Final Fantasy, which has like Final Fantasy X, you know, I don't have a lot of experience with Final Fantasy X in particular, but Final Fantasy as a whole has a huge like amount of character growth, right? This wasn't like it wasn't possible. It was a creative choice to have every cutscene be explosive, and I think it's what keeps you going. Like the game is fun. The difficulty maybe not so much, right? I think a lot of people today are like, they talk about how the difficulty is ridiculous, and I get that. Like if you're not used to the game, yeah, it's totally hard for sure. It's just not for me anymore. So I'm trying to put myself back into that perspective. Like, yeah, but I had hard. You know, I like as a kid, I had my difficulties. I didn't even finish the game till I was like maybe 9 or something. You know, I played Jak 3 in its entirety before finishing Jak 2 because it was like that the boss was that hard in my opinion. But today, like it's ironic because the boss is like one of the easiest things in Jak 2. The final boss is nothing compared to some of the actual difficulty spikes in the game, right? And I don't know, it's interesting. And anyway, Jak 2, man. Let's go to the gameplay because I think I've rambled about the story and what keeps you playing, right? The gameplay is like the first game. 100%. You have exactly the same moveset, you have exactly the same things going on, except you've thrown into this whole new setting, and the setting is a big part of the gameplay. And what I mean by that is the city, you'll be spending like, on the first playthrough, I think you're spending like 2 or 3 hours, maybe even more, right, driving around the city. It's very GTA-like, in that sense, like, that's the inspiration, right? But as you unlock things, you won't have to drive around the city anymore. You can now skate around the city, and you'll notice, like, some of the areas, like the industrial area, maybe not the slums so much, but because they're quite curvy, aren't they? But a lot of areas have it set up so you can just grind around the city and do tricks and stuff. But you know, there's a hoverboard ban, and so as soon as you knock into a guard or something, they'll chase after you, and that is an annoyance. Like as a kid, I used to find that really annoying, but today I don't so much. I think it's kind of like part of the challenge to. Maybe I'm just convincing myself that this game's like better than it is, right? But part of the challenge to not knock into an enemy and like do some tricks and stuff. Like I don't know. It's the way I play Simpsons Hit and Run now, right? Like there's all these side objectives that aren't that engaging, but like. If you do them at the same time as playing the main game, the whole experience is more fun. And that's kind of how I play Jak 2 now. I try to get some of the side stuff out of the way. I do a lot of like R&R, rest and relaxation in between, and you know, because the game's not hard, so I'm just trying to mix it up, right? And for me, right? And I'm trying to mix it up, and I'm skating around the city, trying not to knock into stuff, and yeah, I mean that's how I play the game now. Then you get the morph guns and the morph gun mods and ammo upgrades, and Dark Jack upgrades when you collect these metalhead gems, crystal things, and yeah, I mean the guns are way more fun than Dark Jack, admittedly. The guns are great. I love the Blaster mod, and I love the Falcon Fury. I don't like the Scattergun and Peacemaker as much personally. They're kind of like shorter range weapons, but like they're quite powerful. I do understand and respect what they are though, and I use them a lot, but they're not as fun for me as the long range ones. I don't know what that is about. I think that's just a personal flavor choice sort of thing. And when it comes to Dark Jack, I don't really have a lot of fun with Dark Jack until I unlock the super move at the end of the game, usually the giant Dark Jack. Flying around, like jumping around the city with unlimited Dark Jack on, and being huge and jumping around, and, like that is such a cool in-game reward. Like I love the Insomniac Museum in Ratchet and Clank. I think that's the best in-game reward I've ever seen in any video game, right? And I think any video game could learn from putting like that kind of thing in there. But having like mastering unlocking everything and mastering a city and just having a thing where you can just like Hulk out or be basically on top of the world, right? Like there's something about this. A lot of people give it crap, but I think that's what it's designed to be. I think it's designed to be unlocked at the end of the game, not really give you much advantage in the game per se. But you know, you have like full range to just mess around at the end of the game. Like I think that's what it's meant to be. Like think about it in the context of no trophies, no in-game stuff besides hero mode, and you know, you're a kid, you buy a game, and basically you have to make that game last for a while, right? Like you don't have money to go buy other games. Games are still hella expensive, and yeah, I think that's what it's meant to be. Maybe I'm wrong and looking into it too much like that, but yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had with that. Jumping around, trying to find like things hidden behind the walls and stuff. You know, get out of bounds. Just literally just be some crazy tyrant and just like smash everything in your way. It's quite fun. The Zoomer gameplay is pretty fun. I like variety nowadays and trying to master the different Zoomers. Back in the day, I didn't. I just played the small one, used the small zoomer to get around fast. But nowadays, I try to like compensate, get the green. I like the green one and the purple one, the 3-seater. I think it's my perfect mix of like strength versus boost. But yeah, I like to just play around and try to master the sharp turns of every vehicle and stuff. I'm at that point where there's not much fun left in the game for me, right? Like it's literally just a relaxation R&R. Like the game itself is just R&R for me. I'm playing it just to think about some projects and stuff in the back, like, or I'm listening to a podcast or some crap like that, right? Like it's no longer really what it was, but it's I think it's a fun game, and I think if you haven't played it before, I hope this little video gives you some reasons to play it, right? I don't want to go into the story too much. This isn't, I've done a full documentary on this thing. And I didn't want to get to spoiler territory, right? So I just wanted to get like a short little, like, this is my thoughts on the game. Trying to put myself back into that perspective of being a young lad, Yeah, so, I hope this is worth watching for you and that you enjoyed it. And yeah, if you have any thoughts on Jak II, I'd love to hear it down below. If you enjoyed this, let me know. I can make some thoughts on some other nostalgic games I used to play. I used to play a ton of PS2 games when I had way more time, I've probably arguably played more PlayStation 2 games than PS4 games, and that kind of embarrasses me, but that's just the way it was. Yeah, so let me know what you think, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ape up.